time to try and fix this blowing, leaking, damaged exhaust fanny mould gasket. So I'm going to fix it with a helicoil, and mercifully I have one just here. So in this kit we've got everything we need. A slightly larger drill bit to drill out the hole, a tap to thread the new hole, little inserts which are threaded both outside and in, the tool for screwing the insert in, and then the little prodder for smacking the little tang off. The tang being the little guy in the bottom that you use for twisting it in. So this will repair the thread in the head and hopefully completely stop the leak forever and ever. Amen. First things first though, we're going to have to remove this incredibly long rousing exhaust. There's a bracket here and there's two captive bolts poking through, so I'll take the nuts off and then hopefully let's just undo that, and then we're going to sling it on the bench. There are two 13mm nuts, both nylocks. The socket set won't fit on this one here, it's too tight, so you've got to use a spanner turned around the other way so that the crank gets you, the crank is in the angle of the spanner, gets you around the bracket. But they're off, so now time to get the manifold end off. Just to explain the fix properly, you can see that there's a longer bolt in there than there needs to be. That's effectively to go right to the bottom of the hole and find whatever thread is left. The nut here then gets wound up the shank of the bolt and presses this clamp up against the exhaust gasket. As it is, we're going to do a more proper fix now. Hopefully with a bit of waggling. Wow. So there's the end we're interested in. At least I am. I'm going to use this thing. It's like a boroscope, but I bought it for looking at a drain in our house that was playing up. Did find the problem with it. It's really good. There's a little light on the end of it and a camera. We're just going to have a look up inside there and see if we can spot the gasket and hook it out with a pick. Here we are stuffing the tip of the camera up the exhaust port, which is not euphemistic. You can see the mating face there, adorned with squashed gasket. We'll come back to that in a second, because now we're going to shove right into the base and take a look at the back of that exhaust valve. Covered in white incrustations. I hope that doesn't mean imminent death for the engine. My clumsiness serves me well here, because as I withdraw my camera pointed spout, the gasket falls conveniently onto the green garage carpet. Hallelujah. That was a stunning achievement. I just picked this thing up and literally chucked it on the workbench, put it on the centre stand, and it's ready to work on. Woof. Righto. My little tap holder was made by a man called Brian Moore Gatley, who is the father of Jerry Gatley, the grandfather of Max Gatley. It was a bit stiff, so using some Nipex slip joints and some Avatar blood, they're going to run as smooth as a fish. Just going gently. There's a bit of that Avatar blood grease on the tap as well. In a bit, out a bit, in a bit, just gently, out a bit until you feel the bottom of the hole, and then the next thing will be to put the insert in. So you can see there the Avatar blood has not only lubricated the tap as it's gone in, making it easier, but it's caught almost all of the little bits of dross or cuttings, so they're not set up the hole. One last thing to check with this, and that is the depth of the hole with the now internet famous Drizzylon. I'm 3 threads away from the top of the tap. I'm going to measure where 3 threads away from the top of the tap is on the Drizzylon, poke it up the hole, and they should correlate nicely. Okay, the moment of turf. Close as fuck is to swearing, that'll do. So with the help of our friend the Drizzylon, I've set the depth on the screwing in tool. There he is. And now I'm going to wind the insert in. I'm going for the wind in. Just gently, slowly. She's going. Brilliant. Performing without a safety net. This is the hole we need to go into. Oh, grow up. That is awesome. Cool. That is enough to get us what we need. Fantastic. Look out the size of this thumping great bastard. Spider killed it. It's a hornet. hell of a thing. Beautiful, really. What I can't convey on videos that I've been impatiently waiting for a week whilst the post-lung does his strike to try and get some more pocket money. I don't begrudge him more pocket money, but I'm an impatient person at the best of times, and especially when someone's stopping me using my favourite toy. I've just been coming in the garage and going, wanting to use it, but now we have the kit. So let's look at what we got. Let's fix this bitch and rip it. Fantastic. The super glue has fallen over in my absence, and the glue is actually pretty super. That is well stuck. So here we can see we only need one of these, but hopefully we can see there's a sort of fibrous compressible material, and it's also like a corrugated ring, so as you tighten this up it will get minced flat and hopefully provide some seal. And in here you can just about see got nuts, bolts and washers for winding the studs in and also securing them to the head. Also, rightly or wrongly, I'm going to be using some Loctite to hold these studs in. Will the heat of the engine destroy the Loctite? Maybe, don't know. But I don't think I'll hinder anything by putting some in, so I'm just going to put some in anyway. Just going to whack loads on there because it probably is good for it. I don't know. There you can see the stud is wound in, the spring washer is on, the regular washer is on and the nut is on. I'm just going to leave that there to set for a bit, but hopefully I've done the right thing. Someone will tell me if I haven't, I'm sure. There's plenty of this. For anyone curious about the two nuts on the stud trick, it's just the easiest way to get pieces of threaded rod that you later want to be bare into a hole. First nut acts as your stopper, second nut butts up against it and they lock together and you can wind them in. Then you tighten the top nut ever so slightly more, which loosens the bottom one, then you can take both off and the stud stays in. So I'm just going to let those dry and drink a cup of tea now. Since I'm going to be assembling an exhaust, I'm going to use some exhaust assembly paste to hold this little gasket ring up into the head, because it's a push up and hold there while I slot the exhaust in. So a bit of that paste not only holds it there like a third pair of hands or a third hand, but it also gives us a better chance of an even better seal. Do not get this shit on your fingers, wear gloves. Exhaust paste onto gasket. Looks a mess, because it is a mess. So I've got to work quickly now because the exhaust paste is going off. I've just got to get one on here. I'll go back as soon as the gasket compresses. I can start putting washers and stuff on, but until such time as that happens. Oh boy, have I made a dreadful mistake? Probably. As is now clearly visible, the bench is clear, which means that the motorbike is either evaporated or it's been put on the ground. I got Helen to help me with it, just because I was wearing flip-flops and I didn't know basically whether I'd get it right, and I didn't think it would be very sensible to end my career as a mobile human being by simply dropping a Honda Cub on my foot, snapping a hamstring or something. So the thing that made it slightly more difficult than I anticipated to get that end there, the bit that bolts the engine lined up, is that this bracket here, this bolt here, and I think just the general shape of the exhaust, because it's non-standard, you can see it hits the starter, so it hits the exhaust there, which probably explains why the stud snapped in the first place. Basically kicking with all your might would definitely upset the exhaust, so I won't be using the Kickstarter. I might have to put a new exhaust on it. I'm also considering a brand new Honda Cub as well. I've put my name down. The deposit is a mere £100.